Yo, what's good, guys? It's Avery Yang with Eric Yeboah here with ESPN Truehoop Network's Hawks Hoop. The 116-98 Hawks victory here in Game 3 of the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Some funny stuff just happened at the podium down below. A Wizards reporter came in and talked to Paul Millsap about Markieff Morris calling Paul Millsap a crybaby. And, Dennis Schroeder was on the podium, too. He kind of laughed and put his head down. And Paul Millsap, in retort, said, take your loss and go back to the hotel room. Ooh. So, Game 4 is going to be pretty interesting.
It's been going on since Game 1. Markieff was all up in Paul Millsap's face, and Paul said he actually invites it. He doesn't mind it. He enjoys it. He feels like they thrive on it.
Right.
And
what he said earlier was that it feels good, man. Like, it feels good to, it's been a while.
Since that.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's been chirped, I guess, as much as he has.
He has. Markieff has been going at him. Yeah, and this game here, Paul had his way with him, and I think most of the game I think he made sure that Markieff, because he got into the body of Markieff early on, made sure Markieff was at least had some distance there guarding him, which opened up a jump shot ability for Paul Millsap. I mean, he had him playing timid guarding Paul Millsap, and I think that matchup was won this round here for Paul Millsap. Then also we have Dennis Schroeder versus John Wall, picking him up full court here, taking it personal, and I think Dennis, from Game 1, has been very consistent. He's kept his turnovers low. And we have to give him that credit there. He's really done a good job leading this team. He's been aggressive, had 15 points in the first quarter of this game, and he's just been really on a tear here.
Right, and we saw John Wall he commented kind of on that full court, Schroeder defensive presence there. And, obviously John Wall's going to say, like, it didn't affect me at all. There's no effect on my game. But, it kind of showed today. Schroeder's defensive presence, on both ends of the floor, really.
Yes.
It was solid tonight.
It was solid, definitely. And Bill, I think also maybe, don't know if it had anything to do with Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal only had 12 points. Obviously, that's a good recipe for the Hawks. If you have to take one of the two out, John Wall, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal had a terrible game here. Put a lot of the onus and pressure on John Wall to do more, which shows that the Hawks have really made some changes here, going from Game 2 to Game 3, and it helped them in this win here today.
Well, John Wall very well may have kept it close at least. He very well may have won them the game. He had a few highlight reels. One in particular, the behind the back, 4 dribbles for baseline to baseline.
Ridiculous.
That was pretty crazy. Ridiculous. But you're right. There are two heads to the snake.
And they kept
And
they kept John. And I think like Bud was saying, you got to keep John out of transition. But he's such a speed demon. It's so hard. You got to get 4 or 5. Everybody needs to get back. After the rebound, everybody needs to get back to stop John Wall. And even still, he can find his way to slither through and get the layup. He's just so hard to guard. But John Wall's special talent there, especially.
Markieff Morris, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this one thing, but Markieff Morris, landed awkwardly on Kent Bazemore's knee at the very end of the first half. And I asked Kent about it post-game, and, it seemed like he was limping off, but in the second half he played normally. Yeah. And I asked him about it after the game, and it seemed like he did indeed tweak it, so he did confirm that information. But he said, quote, it's the playoffs, so I think he'll be back Game 4. We'll have to see how the knee holds up because he's been dealing with that injury throughout the entire season.
Exactly. Definitely a scary moment there. What did you also see from Dwight Howard? I know you want to talk about Dwight.
So Dwight Howard, a big onus of 38-20 first quarter deficit that the Wizards were in, I think had a large part to do with Dwight Howard's defensive presence down low. Before the game, there was a lot of talk about benching him, and he was already being benched in Game 2. Yeah. And we saw how Milwaukee and Boston went small in order to win their respective Game 3s. And despite that, playing Dwight Howard throughout that first quarter, really helped them go out on that initial run and eventually close that game out. And it ended up being Dwight Howard had the highest plus-minus total with plus 24. And I think his defensive presence tonight was solid. Despite the fact that he only played 26 minutes, but I think his presence was shown, especially in that first quarter.
And he did better, like we saw off the pick and roll coverage, is what everybody's been harping on. Is he doesn't fit after John Wall comes off that pick or Bradley Beal comes off the pick. Dwight sits so far in the paint, but I think today they did a better job. From Game 2, there were moments even in Game 2 where they built some kind of wall against John Wall getting into the paint. They stopped him, made him kick it out, jump pass, whatever. They made him try to kick it out from the paint. And I think today they just extended it throughout the whole 4 quarters there. They were able to seal off John Wall, and because of Dwight Howard, he had a big part of that. You got to give him a lot of credit for doing that and make sure he contested everything at the rim. And him being in the game is huge. Like you can't get around it. The rebounding, that's what he's here for. So the Hawks have to have him in the lineup.
And I think that's going to be one of the major storylines going into Game 4 on Monday night.
Yes.
Whether or not he can sustain that, especially on that, coming out the gate with that first quarter, because it seems that, Bud has somewhat of a reluctancy to keep him in during crunch time moments, especially with the free throws.
For sure.
What do you think about Tabo not really playing as much? Torian's really, really getting his minutes. Right? What do you think about Game 4? What do you think going forward? Is Tabo going to play?
Yeah, and I think you just hit it. I think Torian's keeping Tabo out of the starting unit. Right. And that's a kudos to Torian, man. He's been very solid. He's played his role. He's done exactly what he's been asked to do, and he's done it at a high level. And he hasn't made too many mistakes. He's playing safe, but not too safe. He's making sure he's still being aggressive at the right times. And he said after the game, like, I'm just trying to pick my spots here. He's not made too many mental errors out there. For a rookie, it's a lot big ups to him for that, because it's not easy for a game like this, especially at Game 3 where you can easily go down 0-3. It's a lot of pressure on you, but I think he showed up big here. He finished with how much, 17?
Taurean Prince, 16 points.
16 points, I'm sorry.
4 rebounds.
Yes.
Tabo finished with 2 minutes and 55 seconds played. So,
yes.
But with this win, they coasted all the way through for the most part. The Wizards didn't hold the lead the entire game.
Sorry, game.
With this game, now there's officially a Game 5, which we will be at in Washington. So keep up.
Yeah, keep up with
us. We'll be covering that game from Washington, D.C., from the Verizon Center on Wednesday night. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Can't wait to be on a bus with you for like 14 hours.
Oh, my God.
We're going to get so tired of each other.
Yeah, we are. It's already starting right now. Jesus. So wish us luck, but we'll be here Monday. We'll be here
Monday for Game 4.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We'll be back. See ya.
Peace. Cameo!